Hello and welcome to the Club 12 podcast with me, Dave, and this week I'm joined by Craig, or as I like to call you, Bono. How's
Hello.
it going, mate?
I'm good, thanks, mate. Thanks for having us on.
You're welcome. Obviously Jaime's not here this week. Jaime's off on a wee trip to Amsterdam.
Lucky him.
Okay, so we are what happened the last time a wee group of Dundonians went to Amsterdam. They got shagged. Anyway, we're not going to talk too much about United today. How are you, mate?
No, I'm good. I was sorry to see United go adrift at the bottom of the table the weekend as well. It's a shame that they need to look at that for the next 6 weeks, is it?
Well, oh God, right enough. Good stuff. Well, I hope they fucking enjoy it. So,
But we're not talking about United.
no yet. So this week we had a good win against Raith. A fairly convincing victory, it seems. We're sitting third in the table. 25 points, joint with Morton, Ayers just above what on 28. It was a good win, mate, eh?
It's a cracking win. I mean, Raith are probably the informed team in the league just now as well, and never easy to play against, eh? And for by all accounts, there should have been more goals. There's a couple of... That Robinson looks brilliant, but there's a couple of other chances where guys just seem to get in his way. There was one in particular where...
There was, I think it was Mulligan got on his road.
Aye.
A good crowd for Raith as well, a decent wee crowd. I think
700 and odd or something like that. They made a big racket coming up the hill tune as well, like they were beating their drums.
Oh, I thought that was the Huns.
Kitten Huns.
The Kitten Huns.
Yeah.
Oh God, no, name more of them. They've been all over the place this past couple of weeks.
Yeah. I'll never set anything on fire.
Well, no, they never. However, the terracing was on fire, or the back of the goal was on fire on Saturday, however you want to describe it. So I thought it was a good win.
Aye, cracking.
It was it was a good penalty for Robinson.
Yeah.
His other goal was a good one as well.
Instinctive. The first effort that he turned and he knew where the goal was. Good save for the keeper, but straight back at him, and brilliant instincts to hit it in again. Yeah, he looks like a good find.
So I've said before on the podcast, right, that if any team could go on a wee run of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games, then they'll probably get themselves up to the top. So I think we're kind of in the middle of that just now. We're sort of 5 games unbeaten.
Well,
and
you're looking at that league, and last week when we were playing Partick Thistle, I think we went from, during the course of 90 minutes, when they were winning, from 4th down to about 7th, and they were up in 2nd, clear. And then by the time we came back, won 3-2, they ended up in 7th, and we were 4th, joint 2nd.
Yeah.
Crazy league, but
it's mental.
I've always been, although we've not been brilliant, I think the fact that we've always kept with the pack, you get the feeling that once we do really find our form and start being consistent, I think I'm not saying we're going to run away with it, that would be daft. We've got experience of this league, and it's never been a good experience a lot of the times, but I think once we do come good, the fact that we're just still only 3 points off the top at this stage when we could have been a lot worse off, we've got a good chance, at least the playoffs. I think we should be thinking title, but
so
we know the wheels could come off soon enough.
We'll talk more about your experiences of following Dundee over the years. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Just a big thanks to King Kong Tattoo Company, our sponsors. They're based at Albert Square, Dundee, for all your tattoo and piercing needs. You got any tattoos, mate?
I don't actually. I would love to get one.
I think you should get.
If they're listening,
I think you should get in with Barry Smith. You should get a Barry Smith tattoo.
Barry Smith tattoo.
If you were going to get a player tattooed on you, what would you get? By the way, thanks for the cup of tea. We're
that's okay.
We're currently sitting in Costa del Hilton. We're in Bono's flat tonight. He's got a wee cup of tea going. We've got Abernethy biscuits and
digestives. Eh? Yeah. If I was to get a tattoo with a Dundee player, that's a difficult one. I've been watching them for nearly 40 years now, eh? So difficult.
And the thing is, if you got in a Jim
Who's
Duffy,
my favourite ever Dundee? Jim Duffy's probably one of my favourite ever Dundee players, because I'm
tattoo,
young enough to remember him being...
No be that wafting comb over, I know.
No. You need to get a tattoo on the way when he saw sense and actually shaved it off. I don't know, Jim Duffy, maybe get a Jim Duffy tattoo. I need to get it somewhere that nobody would see it at the time, though,
on your arse, you know where to get Jim Duffy tattoo
on
on your arse.
looking at my arse anyway, you can, but I don't know, maybe, just if you got it, you know, maybe Bobby Connor or someone, just so you could take the tash on the tattoo as well. Albert Kidd.
I never thought of that.
Scoring against Hearts, wheeling away with his arm in the air. I don't know.
And that big tash. Good stuff. Right, anyway, let's go.
That is one of my memories, as you say. You know, I've been watching them a long time. One of my earliest ones was when we had, it was way to choose bad words there, when we stopped Hearts for winning the league.
What were you going to say?
Then I was going to say when we fucked them. That's one of my earliest memories. I've never seen anything like it.
Were you at that match? I was there. What do you remember for it? I didn't really remember much of the match or the goals.
I was quite young at the time, right, so maybe didn't have a full understanding. You know, it was, my old man obviously took us there when we were younger, and probably, and leading up to that, you're still playing with your toy cars on the benches in the dairy and things like that, you know, but I remember it being mobbed. By all rights, I think they were obviously going for the league, but I'm pretty sure that we were going for a European place, and if unless I stand corrected, I think Rangers pipped us on goal difference to get into Europe.
You're spot on.
Everybody's saying that Dundee had nothing to play for and Hearts had everything to lose, but Dundee were still trying to get a European place that season, and but that's one of my earliest memories. They were on the pitch crying and stuff. I mean, you hate to feel sorry for them. No, you didn't. But they hate us for that. They hate us for that.
They do.
You know, it's like didn't get started on that. They hate us for something that happened 30 odd years ago. St Johnstone, Perth people hate us for something that happened in the 60s. You know, we won the league at their place in Drill. That's how they hate us. They don't hate hatred for United as much as what they do Dundee.
When I think of St Johnstone now, right, I think, how do people get there? Because you went to Perth on a boat,
yeah, that's funny.
Tell me the story about that.
The story behind that. I've got a pal called Eddie Lafferty. A lot of people know.
Abdi kens Eddie.
He's a good guy, you know what I mean? Character, big heart. Does a lot. Used to do a lot for Dundee actually. Anyway, but yeah, he phoned me. He says, "Here, how are you doing, mate? You want to go to the game at St Johnstone in the morning?" I was like, he says, "There's a difference though. We're going by a boat." So he says, So basically, we went over to this little quay over in Newport, and we sailed. When I say sailed, it was like a lifeboat. It was like a wee lifeboat. So, but what we done from Newport, we belted over the tail, 70 mile an hour or something. So you felt, I had long hair at the time, so I felt the wind bristling through it. The boy says, "We'll go over and here we look at the V&A." So we went across and we were in the water underneath the V&A looking at it. It was pretty impressive looking. But what he done was, this must be part of his tour. He took it. There's a wee windy on there, and he says, "Look up now." He says, "You can see yourself in the windy." Well, I gave ourselves a wee wave. But that was good. Then basically we went up, obviously back up the Tay. We stopped some wee town on the Fife side, went for a pint because apparently the tide was too low. The bottom of the boat was getting scratched and that. He says, "I'm going to pull in somewhere."
That was at Newborough.
Pulling at Newborough. We're just going to pull in at Newborough. I want you to go and have a few pints while the tide comes up a wee bit. And we're like, alright, no bother. So as it was, we did that, and then eventually the was so good. He says, "Right, we're going to go right up the river here," and we got up to the Friarton Bridge, and the boy was still moaning that the tide was too low. He says, "I'm going to let you through here. If you walk that way, you'll get there and need to be able to wait a minute." He says, "Or you'll need to wait half an hour until the tide comes up again a wee bit." He says, "Well, I'm all for waiting." Like, I said, "No, let's get off the boat." And but anyway, the boy was like, "I'll see you later," and sailed back down the Tay. We're standing under the Friarton Bridge and they weren't near the football. Brilliant. And then we phoned taxis, and we ended up getting taxis for this wee cafe there.
Nancy's Cafe, Nancy's Hardware Cafe, because it's just down the road from us.
But apparently we weren't welcome in there because they didn't like football fans. We were a steaming, and he's like, "You're not welcome in here." Okay.
That kind of indicates, right, I can where that's located, right, that indicates that a lot of people go to Perth by a boat for the football.
Right? Rowdy inside. Fucking hell. Aye, so we phoned taxis, and honestly, we got out of this place, and the traffic was mental. And so we're not even in Perth at this point, and you know you've got to get all the way across Perth to the game, and it was like Saturday afternoon. Traffic was mental.
That's literally the other side of Perth.
We never got in until about just before the half hour was off, and I can't remember what the score was that day. I think we got beat anyway, 2-0 or something like that.
Already beat at that point.
It was a brilliant day, but the football was horrible again. But it's an experience going to the Dundee game by a boat. That was a new one, and one that'll live with me. You know what I mean? And I'll probably hit a laugh with Eddie about that again. Maybe even do it again someday.
I actually did read
That'd be
something not that long ago. It was about
Make sure we get out of the way this time. Yeah.
depending on what time it is
Depending
and
on
what
what
the
the
tide
tide's
is. Right? And apparently a lot of Dundee fans used to go through a Raith. Well, they used to get the boat over the tape before the bridge was built.
Alright, aye.
Because obviously it's not that far away really, is it, Ken? And
No.
football used to get big
Kirkcaldy's
crowds
not that
back in
far
the
away.
day. But apparently there was a wee boat used to be called the Fifey because it went back and forward to Fife.
Alright, aye, that makes sense.
So I don't think I've ever got the boat to the football.
Well, that's one that I've ticked off, like. But,
Yeah, definitely.
if it ever comes up, we'll give you a shout with Crago, man. Me, you,
And I
Eddie.
can if I want to go on the boat to the football.
That was good, man. You know what I mean? Apart from getting dropped off, it was a good experience, like, you know, we had a laugh. It was a good day.
I do remember going on a boat trip, not a day with football, and it was so you could go on a wee boat trip on Loch Ness, right, and it takes you out to this wee castle, right. So gets on the boat and heads out to this wee castle. It's about 20 minutes down the loch, and then when we were in the wee castle, I think it's Urquhart Castle, and then a big storm come. And the guy says, "Oh, I can't take you back." it's like, mate, you fucking just took me 8 mile down the road, Ken. He's like, but if you go over there, you'll get a taxi. So basically, it turned out at the other side of the castle, there was like a wee town kind of thing, and there was a taxi. Just one guy, eh? So he took me back along there. Anyway, let's get back to the football. Did I go through the league table with you? I did. So Ayr at the top on 28 points, and then
Well.
Morton and ourselves are on 25, Queen's Park on 24, Raith and Inverness on 22, Partick on 20, Cove Rangers on 17, Arbroath 12, and Hamilton on 11.
I'm really sorry to see Hamilton at the bottom
I
of the table.
fucking hate Hamilton, yeah, passion.
Was never a big fan of them, but I mean, you just need to say that 10-2. That, I mean, it's not mentioned enough. It's not spoken.
We're
enough.
never going to forget that, eh?
No, I mean, but it would have been. Imagine we hadn't won that day. Imagine they'd have went up as all. They'd have went up at champions because of that.
But what was
10
the
goals
guy?
solid.
What was in the goal that day? He pulled off a
Kyle Leather, and he pulled off.
great save in the
Yeah, it's a-
last minutes.
Yeah, definitely. It's when you say your keeper could make a save that's as good as a goal. That's probably one of the last saves I've seen like that out of Dundee keeper, because we've not been blessed the last few seasons. Let's face it. You know, we always had a history of having good goalkeepers.
Well, this is a
you know,
topic that I've kind of been bringing up, and I feel like I'm picking on the goalies a wee bit. But the fact that we've played so many goalies in such a short space of time and chopped and changed them over the course of the season up to now, Lawler seems to, well, it's 2-0 yesterday. You can't fault the guy. He never gave away a goal, so that's a
he
good
did make
start.
a couple of decent saves as well. You know?
So the team yesterday. So he started with McGee, Sweeney, and Ashcroft at the back, right? But French and Kerr were obviously playing a sort of
The lighter wing back.
Grayson, Anderson, Mulligan, and then Robinson and McMillan. So they were kind of, it was.
Yeah.
There was a couple of early injuries. I know that Grayson went off early.
Sean Byrne came in and had a great game.
Which is good because
It's good to see, 'cause
he
I
was
like
told he
Byrne.
could leave. Yeah. So
I think he was one of our big positives the last couple of seasons, you know. When we went up, and then, you know, the season we went up through the playoffs, and then even last year, I've seen some really bad Dundee teams being relegated, but I couldn't say we were a really, really bad team last year. We were just a bit naive and a bit inconsistent, you know, but he's somebody that I've always liked, you know. He doesn't show a lot in games, but he does a lot of the dirty work that, you know, nobody talks about.
you usually see a wee
need that in
yellow
your team.
care next to his name.
Oh yeah, I'm
He's
happy for him to
good
take
for
yellow
tackling
card.
for the team.
There was a couple, when Hearts were down in the same league as us, the year we went up in the playoffs, when we were playing against Hearts, I think it was early on in the game, me and you've spoken about this before, when he hit Naismith early on, took a yellow card
game
after
changer,
about 3
right.
minutes.
That changed the mentality of the
the-
season. That tackle, it really did. And then we went on a.
Because he controls games, he shouts and he mouths and all the rest of it, you know, but he just knocked him right out his stride early on, and that's, you've got to be a clever player to walk that tightrope for so early in the game. You know what I mean? To just get that one.
Anybody that you've been particularly impressed with this season?
I think Zach Robinson's been a good show, definitely. I'm not convinced by the defence. I'm glad that Ashcroft's back, because he's I think when you look at what's happened, like when he went out of the team last season, it seemed to take even more of a slump. You know, he's like a bit of a rock. I'm not going to go as far as to say he's like a modern day Jim Duffy, anything like that. But when he's in the team, we've got more of a solidity about that. I do think he needs somebody to.
He needs a leader beside him.
Yeah, but he's a good worker. You know what I mean? I think. But Sweeney's not too bad. Yeah, he's a big presence. You want big guys in there as well, and you know he's. Just don't want them to try and play too much football, my centre halves. I mean, they're all for good ball players and that all over the pitch, but sometimes, when you look at the level we're at as well, sometimes you just want to see them hoof it when it's needed. You know, I know that we're trying to build a good football and philosophy and that, but in the first division of the Championship as it's nowadays, that's not always what you need.
Yeah.
You know?
I found as well that Sweeney was kind of getting that reputation for being a bit of a hothead, and he got bookings and centre halves for stupid things.
I don't know, how old is he? I mean, you hope that...
I don't think he's that old, 24, 25 maybe. I don't even care, to be honest with you, I'm just guessing. But again, I think, see, him and Ashcroft to me, right, are kind of the same in that they're good in the air, they're good at marking, and they're great in the tackle, but I think they need somebody else next to them, guide and better them.
Definitely, yeah. I like them, I mean, I like McGee as well, and, I mean, he's no bad at the back, but remember the season that we came up through the playoffs when, like, you had Adam, his quarterback passing, and then he scored in the playoffs. I mean, he could, it's like a combative midfielder sort of as well, that he could play there, you know, he's a handy player to have, you know, he can play in a lot of different positions.
So, Saturday, and, well, the stats, so it was worth 15 shots, 7 on target, which... That's not bad, I guess. You know, we're still, you know, we conceded a few shots, but it was only 1 on target really, so that's pretty good.
That shows that you're having a lot of good attack, like, you know, so that's a decent start. I mean, and to be on target 50% of the time, that's no bad shooting.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I think as well, Robinson as well, so that's him now, he's got 8 goals in 17 games. Scores every 99 minutes.
Every 99 minutes?
I've worked this out.
If he does that,
our next top scorer is Cammy Kerr, and he scores a goal every 450 minutes.
He scored an important one last week, that's the thing.
Well, that's it. He scored a couple
of goals.
Might not
be the most pretty goal,
season.
But it went in somehow, and you know, what a comeback.
I was saying, me and Jaime were talking last week, I think it was, about we do have goals in our team. We've, like, pretty much everybody in the team's got a goal.
Well, you hope that under this coach, there's a lot of people no convinced, like, but I mean, people talk highly of him, he's meant to be a good coach. He's made a couple of signings, but you hope that they're going to let him see what he's working with, and then maybe give him something in January to add where he thinks we really need it, you know.
Yeah.
But so we'll see what happens. But I think, Cammy Kerr popping up with goals now and again. I mean, it's good to see a guy who obviously has a lot of Dundee's in his heart. You know what I mean? That's his team. But I do think he looks a lot better on the left.
Doesn't he get caught over his shoulder as much? Yeah.
No, I mean, you've seen. We've been watching Dundee a long time. I mean, the other instance that I could think, which is pretty much the same as, like, do you remember Rab Shannon?
Rab Shannon,
he was a right-footed left back.
That's right.
He was a right-footed left back, and he was a really good left back. I think he played right back as well. You know what I mean? But I think he was really good at it. And I think Cammy Kerr, me and you spoke about it a couple of times, where he's advancing up the park and he gets caught looking over his right shoulder. And it's hard to make a turn and get onto that, but if he's getting caught over his left shoulder and it's natural to turn right, then he's... I don't know, I just think it works. In modern day game, you see a lot of people with left foot playing on the right and vice versa as well. It seems to be something that they do now. But he looks a lot better on the left, a lot more convincing. And he puts in a shift, let's face it. You know, maybe he doesn't always do the
You'll always get a shift at him.
His effort's there, you know. Yeah. And McMullen, I think he's looking a bit better through the centre, you know what I mean? If only he had, an extra 10% on his shooting. I
think the key to McMullen is nowhere in the fucking tangerine bits.
Oh,
right.
We spoke about that for ages. What, fucking orange bits, Ken? I mean, did nobody say that to him?
Surely somebody took him
aside. You're signing for United, you're coming across to Dundee, you can't wear orange bits anymore, mate. not, that surprises me. And the
Like-
fact that he was allowed to get away with it for so long.
And between
Do you
that
think,
whack,
do you think it was you
fatality,
calling him out the other week? Maybe word through.
I hope so.
I hope so.
I hope he heard about it. So, but
That's a high five on that, and if he did, 'cause he seems to. He's wearing
the
yellow ones.
greeny yellow bit seemed to be doing him a shift.
Yeah. And he scored the wonder goal the other week, right enough. Did he mean it?
I fucking wonder how that went in. Eh? Fucking hell.
No, I mean, as well, since he came, everyone slated he's not got the final ball. He's not got the final delivery. But the first season he came in at Dundee, I think he was something like second in the assist charts in the championship that season, behind somebody who played for Hearts or whatever. And so that tells me that his delivery is not that bad.
I can.
You know what I mean? But I suppose it's maybe just a percentage of what you're seeing him doing that puts it off. But his percentage of people scoring off his delivery is actually quite high. And now that he's chipping in with a couple, it can't be bad.
Yeah, well, that's it.
I still think, I just can't get past it since he came. Just looks like a wee Arab, even though he's in the Dundee strip. But just, he looks like he's going to ask you for your last fag or something.
He does, aye. He does, Ken. But do you remember as well on FIFA when
he was in the Dundee?
He was in the Dundee and he still had an anonymous tap. How raging were you? Yeah, sell. Quick sell.
People in EA just clearly didn't understand.
They didn't care.
They didn't care.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
I think he was only a bronze as well. He must have been about a 58 rater or something.
Yeah.
99 pace, 42 on an
Stealing bikes, 84. Nah, he's coming on again. So I hope,
good.
I hope
there's a few players that are coming on. As I say, I like the look of Mulligan, but I think he's keen and he's a good talent and things. But obviously, he's needing to mature. He's getting coached, but I think he needs to pass it sometimes, just a little bit more often. He's capable. But there's sometimes where I think he just needs to slide a wee ball to the side.
There was a couple of times on
Saturday. A wee
Saturday.
bit too much, but he's good to watch. He's a good player. I can't criticise him. But
I feel like sometimes where he's got an option, but he's also got a wee bit of space, and it's like he's trying to wait for other options, and he gets himself kind of caught a wee bit, and he's either left with squaffing a shot or going into a tackle.
I mean, he scored a couple of really nice goals in these situations too, you know what I mean? So you can't say that he's not capable of doing it, but other times you just think, it would have been easier for that guy to score. But as somebody who's got an eye for goal, if you've got a full sight of it, he's going to go for it, is he?
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to be coming up to the transfer window as well. What do we need to fill? What position needs extra backup?
Well, we've got 3 goalkeepers already, right, and they all seem to be getting a wee go each, it's difficult to say. I think, what's the wee guy, is it Sharp? I think he's too small for a goalkeeper. I don't like small goalkeepers. Now, I'm not saying that a small goalkeeper isn't capable of making world-class saves and things like that, but I'll take you back to Jack Hamlin. Let's not speak about him. Let's not speak. Just he looks like he should have played up front or on the wing or something. You know what I mean? He's never a goalkeeper. But I don't like to see a small goalkeeper. I just think they look vulnerable.
But then Legstons is a big lad.
Legstons a big lad, and I think Legstons the only one that really looks like a goalkeeper. When you see him in the sticks and just the way he composes himself and things, and he's capable of producing some good saves and that, but I still don't think he's the answer.
What's the best keeper you've seen at Dens? In your 40 years experience?
No, Pagu. He was good though.
Pagu, you remember him? Fucking maniac, yeah.
It wasn't a long time. I mean, Rob Douglas, before he went to Celtic, was one of the best. He got into Scotland squad and that, recognised even before. You normally need to leave Dundee and go to Celtic or something before he got a call up, but he was in the squad. So he was good. Bobby Gerris back in the day, he was in the Scotland squad and that, And back in the day, we were spoiled for choice with Bobby Gerris and Tom Carson. They were both vying for number 1 at that point. I think Gerris got more games, but Tom Carson was like my mum liked Tom Carson too.
Oh, did she?
There was a year we went through the Soccer Sixes, remember them?
I remember. Was that when we won it?
No, it wasn't the year we won it, no, but we went through the Soccer Sixes and they used to sell tickets so you go through on the players' buses and that. My mum, she was like, like that Tom Carson, so we used to wind her up about it for years. I think he left and went to be a painter and decorator or something. Different days, something like that. A lot of players went.
I wonder if he's still doing that.
Who knows? I think if I remember rightly, maybe about, so it's probably over 10, maybe nearer 15 years ago, I think he was managing at Dumbarton or something. I've not really...
He played for Dumbarton.
Yes, yeah. But I don't know if he's still involved in football, but he was, after he retired for Dundee, he was still buying up Brackens or something, I think, and doing a trade. Yeah. Don't know how we know that. I think we had a pal at Brackens and we seen him mate there, just wondering about.
Did your mum tell you? Is that what
No,
it
it
is?
wasn't my mum. My mum met him at the mate. Nah.
So what are we going for? Bobby Gedders?
Oh, I don't know. That's difficult. I mean,
There's been a few. What about Speroni?
Speroni, Ken. Speroni was brilliant. Great player. I mean, obviously he wasn't there for long, but during that period as well, there's a lot of great players we had. But when you look at eventually what happened to Dundee through these periods, I mean, you and your young lad were talking about if you could bring back 3 players. I think it was about 4 or 5 weeks ago.
That's right, yeah.
Who would they be? And you guys made some good choices. I can't remember who it was you went for.
I think initially I went for Nemshadze.
Nemsadze would probably be one of mine.
And Speroni, but I then changed my mind and went for John Brun and Jim Duffy.
He was brilliant. Jim Duffy, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think 3's a tall order. I mean, if I was to pick 5, I would say...
It's fucking half the team.
No, I can't, but I would say Jim Duffy.
Well then, let's hear it.
Jim Duffy in his prime, for sure, definitely. Now that you say Nemsadze, definitely.
I always remember that second goal
That chip
the second goal against United when Lansara scored, right? Because he does this thing on the bar and he doesn't actually touch it. Yet 3 United players scatter,
just
and then he lobs it into the box, and it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful.
He was an unbelievable player. Yeah, well, that as well as the chip at Paradise, you know.
That was good in as well.
Caniggia.
I can't.
I mean, okay, he was only there for a season, but...
Were you at Pataudry on his debut?
I was at Pataudry on his debut. My old man said to me...
Did you hear Blonde Wig on that day?
I never actually, no. But my old man was... We were still living at the house at the time, and he says, he says, we're going to Aberdeen. I was like, he says, we've signed Caniggia and he's making his debut this afternoon. I wasn't even sure who he was, but then when I did a little bit of asking around, I can't remember if we even had Google in the days. Was that 2002 or something? Was it 2002?
Jeeves. Did you need to ask Jeeves?
Something like that. But asked about and soon found out what a big deal this was like. You know, he was Maradona's best mate.
See, I remember him through the 1991. That's right.
Let's not speak about that. But I was there when he made his debut. I think Bonetti scored about a 35-yard ping, didn't he?
He scored a chip through the edge of the box, so it was a special goal.
Was it as close as that? I thought it was.
It was just on the edge of the box.
The more I talk about it, it'll be 40 years next year, you know what I mean?
Well, good.
I was there that day. But Caniggia's goal was just a touch of class. I mean, I think it was clean through and it was a dink, but it was like almost slow motion. He curled it on the deck round the keeper and it was just a sexy finish, you know what I mean?
It was.
And there was a good crowd through that day, and obviously I went into raptures, and then I thought the good times were going to roll.
I think we probably could have sold out our allocation 2 or 3 times that day.
Definitely. It was a great day.
It was great. And I loved
see
how
some good days with them.
there must have been 2,000 folk had on blonde wigs. I'll be honest. I mean, I never had it on personally. But it was pretty good. That was also the same day that Jim McLean smashed that reporter in the bus. Getting that John Barnes. Was it John Barnes?
I tell you not.
I don't know, ask me that fucking question. Fucking smash.
Oh dear.
Could be the greatest day in Dundee football history ever.
See, they did that one only an excuse and everything. That was like, wow. Jim McLean,
Right, so did we finish the player? So we were going for
Jim Duffy. So Jim Duffy, Georgie Nemsadze, Caniggia. I'm sorry. Maybe even if you're wanting to hit 2 up front, maybe even Coyne and Wright though.
See, this was my dilemma.
That's the dilemma.
I couldn't put Coyne in because you need Coyne and Wright.
I need to get back in a few weeks with an ideal 11. You know what I mean? But no, I mean Coyne and Wright or Caniggia. I mean Coyne and Wright. Sorry, Claudio. Coyne and Wright up front. It's got to be the Cobra and the Mongoose.
I didn't think people realise how good they were. Oh mate,
they were brilliant. I mean, Coyne was going for the golden boot and everything like that at the time.
Ali
McCoy's was another prolific scorer to Tommy Coyne, and obviously Tommy Coyne's playing for what's a provincial club and knocking them in, so that stuff gets noticed. Hot, what a couple of brilliant players they were. Wright was still good when Coyne left, but it was never the same. They two.
No, I can.
So yeah, Jim Duffy,
Nemshadze, Coyne and Wright.
That's difficult. Javier Artero on the wing, maybe. He was quality.
But then, do you
Marcelo
remember
Morocco at left back?
Do you remember Johnny Hernandez?
Johnny Hernandez, he was good.
What a player!
He was good.
He was
maybe a 3-man front line of Coyne, Wright and James Grady. No, let's get serious. So maybe you'd need to pick a goalkeeper. It's difficult. It really is. Maybe even Barry Smith. Barry Smith. He played under a lot of different managers. He was there for the best part of a decade as a player.
Yeah, when he went to centre midfield, what was the touch of genius?
He came. I think he signed for us as a right back, and then he played centre back.
Was he not part of the swap deal for? Was it Tommy Coyne or Morgan Vickers?
I think he came to Dundee as part of the deal that seen Morgan Vickers go to Celtic. I'm pretty sure that was it, and I don't know if I signed him as a right back, but he played across the back line anyway, like centre half, right back. But a lot of managers deployed him in that sort of, what do you call it, a defensive midfielder. It's no sweeper, it's more advanced than that, but just protecting the two centre backs, and he just used to snap things up. And when he started playing with all these real footballers, he could start playing a wee bit as well. He was an intelligent player. But yeah, Jim Duffy, Barry Smith, Coyne and Wright, and Nemshadze. You could build a team around that. Put anybody else in.
Put anybody else in there,
right? That would be a good spinal team for me.
Right, so up next we've got Hamilton at Dens.
I fucking hate Hamilton. We've already spoken about that. Yeah. Oh dear.
Honest.
I hope we're pumping them something rotten like but you know what it's like watching Dundee.
Has John Rankin been sacked for them yet? Because
he was there.
He's their gaffer now.
Oh dear.
Because there's like 5 teams in the championship if I got ex-Arabs as managers.
And is it right?
Yeah. So Owen Coyle's at Queen's Park, John Rankin's at Hamilton, Ian McCall's at Partick.
You thought of that?
Jim McIntyre's at Cove.
Okay.
I can't mind what else. Can't mind what other bastard is.
I think that was your 5.
Well,
dearie me, I never realised that.
It was good to see them getting pumped at the weekend.
Definitely. That was good.
And it was also good to see that they took a good crowd with them to watch them get pumped in that. I hope most of them were on the bus greeting.
Yeah, I hope so. As we said earlier on, the fact that they've got to look at that league for 6 weeks and they're adrift at the bottom, that's brilliant. That's a shame.
So we've got Hamilton up next at Dens. Hamilton at bottom. We should be looking to really give them a doing. We've already beat them a couple of times this season.
Yeah.
Realistically, it should be 3 points in the bag. However, you've been a Dundee fan for 40 years.
Time.
You ken that's not going to happen. How do you think that'll pan out?
The thing about being a Dundee fan is you can better than to get carried away or to take anything for granted. Now, if we do get a wee bit of luck, you know that there's a big slap in the puss. There's always one step forward, one back, but sometimes it's like, 2 steps forward, 5 back. It's like. But as you say as well, if you go see a team that's going to go on a wee run in this league. As we said earlier on, we went in from one game from 7th to joint 2nd, and Partick went from 2nd clear down to 7th. So that's happening in the space of one game. If you're looking at the real time scores and the tables as they change, but. So the fact that 6 or 7 weeks we could look pretty, sitting pretty, and then lose 3 games, and then all of a sudden we're mid-table again. It's really tight, Obviously, everyone knows that. It's one of the tightest leagues I've ever seen. At the most years, but this is just crazy.
I've genuinely never seen a league like the way that is this season. Like that's just
everyone must fancy their chances, even at least for the playoffs. But I hope that we are going to get things right, and I do think if we go on a run and we find consistency and he gets his favoured formation with the best lineup and people stay fit. I do think we're good enough to. We're never going to stroll it or run away with it, but we should be good enough to win it.
Do you think he kens what his best team is yet?
I'm not sure. I mean, he's went for this sort of 3-5-2, call it that, or 5-3-2 when you need the defenders. You know, it's, I don't know.
Because I mean, there is
seems to be a modern way of playing for a lot of teams.
Because there's one of the pages on Facebook, I think it's All Things Dundee FC, I think it is, and some of the like comments and like not necessarily just this week, but previous weeks as well. Like the lineup comes out and it's like, boom, wow, he shouldn't be on. What were they in this for? And it's like, well, I feel like he's still in a trial and error phase. I think he kens a few positions. He's got a few ideas. I think he kens Friend should be on the right hand side. Robinson should be up front. Mulligan should be on the park, and Anderson should be on the park.
I think Anderson should be. I'm disappointed not to see wee Finn Robertson getting more game time though. I mean, I don't know what happened. A couple of seasons ago, he was meant to be the next big thing, and then we didn't want to put him in too much. We sent him out on loan, but what's happened with him?
I was quite surprised, right? So when they initially put him out on loan, I think it was Peterhead he went to.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, well, we've got Charlie there, right? He should be sitting watching Charlie, right? Because his pass distribution was outstanding.
Yeah.
My fault for him was a lot of the time he went sideways or backwards, right? However, if he'd watched Charlie's game, right, when he's not on the park, sit and watch Charlie.
Yeah.
When Charlie's not on the park, put him in. Give him the chance.
I mean, there's Charlie. He very seldom passed sideways, but I mean, he probably would if he really had to, you know. If he's played for Scotland, he probably would, you know what I mean? But, I mean, yeah, we've never seen anyone with a delivery like Charlie. It's just a shame, obviously, that he came back to play for us and we went down last season, but what a delivery. I mean, in the season we went up. We didn't expect to go up, let's face it.
No, and he got up, to be fair. Yeah. Like, it was hard doing to him.
It
wasn't hard doing to him, but he certainly helped.
Sadly, I think when we're in the Premier League, still gifted, still got it all upstairs and that, but I think we've got found out a wee bit with that as well, because it's like closed down Charlie Adam. That's we relied on him far too much. You know, this is the thing. As good as he was, I think we went through him far too much. But you know, never seen a delivery like that for a long time.
No since Graham Bain took that letter to Handon.
Yeah.
Oh well. Did that catch you off guard, that did it?
That did. Anyway, I hope we do hump Hamilton. I don't think any Dundee fan realistically could say, I've got a place in my heart for Hamilton. I think Dundee fans all around the globe must hate Hamilton, you know. And again, as I say, if we hadn't went up that season, the fact we went up as champions that season, if we didn't, that would have still been getting talked about. That had to get investigated.
And as well,
got swept under the carpet.
Somebody mentioned to me as well, was there no something about Dougie Emery in that? So
I think he was playing for Morton that day, and I think I'm maybe right in saying that he'd already signed the pre-contract with Hamilton anyway. He's playing for them, and you know, it's, I don't want to accuse anything, you don't want to cause a storm here or anything, but you know.
But Dougie Emery is a prick.
Yeah, Dougie Emery is a prick.
Didn't forget that.
I didn't forget that, but you know what, this is the thing, you might not thank me for saying this, he's the kind of prick that you would like to have in your own team. And it's like, again, I mean, you love to hate him for Hamilton, but he was an intelligent player, he can out-rile you, guys that get a reaction from the opposition fans, you notice when you're giving them it back, they buzz off it and they perform off it. Love guys like that in my team. I mean, who have we ever had like that? Maybe Chick Charnley when he played for us.
Chick Charnley, what a player!
I love him, man, but you know, he's disciplined.
Now there's a question for you. Whose delivery was better, Charlie Adams or Chick Charnley? Because I tell you what, with the left peg, that's a tough call.
It's a tough call because football's so different nowadays as well. And Charlie Adams days have been Charlie Adam, obviously in a more recent era. Although Chick Charnley was playing, I think he was still playing for Partick about 50-51, taking the odd weekend for him. But
to be fair, I think they were quite similar
different
players.
Science, I know, but different science, different time. Football was different, but Charnley, what a gifted player he was. I mean, again, these guys are just quicker upstairs, you know. Maybe they're not the fastest, they've not got the pace or anything, but they're just so switched on mentally that they're, as you say, like what Namzazi did to the United players, just shifted his legs a couple of times, and 3 of them just parted because they thought, what?
Chip Charnley is in
that kind of thing.
He is one of the players that I think he was that hidden talent. That not so much that was necessarily hidden, but I think
he was a hothead though. That was the thing.
He had that downside, but I think as well he was also in that era of people being brought through with the drinking culture, right?
This is what I'm
now,
saying.
could you imagine if he'd went away abroad and had that culture of no drinking,
Gone to Italy
eating the right food?
Can you imagine? Yeah, he'd be the greatest player we've ever seen. You know, that kind of thing. It's good to see Scottish players that are going away and doing that now, and I think we're seeing that obviously for the Scotland team. There's players going away to Italy.
So I was reading the other day that Lewis Ferguson's been tracked by Juventus. They're thinking about marking a bid for him in the January window.
He's not at Aberdeen anymore.
He's at Bologna.
Oh, see, right, okay. So
and he's playing pretty well.
So I think he went. Who was it? Was it Aaron Hickey played for them, or was he for a different team?
Aaron Hickey was at Bologna as well.
Yeah. So I think he went out there as well, and he's got to move to the Premiership now. And
I think they
so Scottish guys are on the rise, though. You know, it's good.
It's changed days, eh?
Definitely.
It's good to see some young boys coming through.
Scottish boys doing an important job for teams in the Premiership down south and that, and then it's good. It's not just a case that you play here, so you need to be in the team. You know, we've all seen that, but there's players that are playing at a good level.
So, see, over the years, right, we've not really brought through any huge mass. Well, I mean, actually, that's not. I was about to say we've not really brought through any players, right? But we have. I mean, we've brought through, for instance, Neil McCann, right?
We need to go back to think about really.
But you took the words right in my mouth, mate. Right? We need to go back to quite a bit before we actually brought out any young up and coming talent. Do you think we've got anybody now?
Is there any other players that other teams would look at and think? I don't know. It's difficult to say. I don't think we've got any standouts. Likes of what Neil McCann was like. He was getting trucked to big teams.
First game he played, you know, he was different, right?
Yeah.
And do you remember as well? It was round about the same time. Ian Anderson.
On the other side, he was tremendous as well. He was really good. Wonder what became of him. He came back to Dundee for a brief spell, I believe.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
don't think it really happened for him the second time.
I can't really remember. That doesn't happen though, does it? See when folk come back for a second stint? Because Tommy Coyne did it as well.
Tommy Coyne, that was heartbreaking to see though. I think when Tommy Coyne came back to us, he'd had a couple of really good seasons for Motherwell, and he was like, he was more than just a goal scorer. He was like one of these players who developed, that they were just aware of a lot of other things rather than just solely scoring goals. But he came back to Dundee and I think his legs just weren't the same. I think he had his Indian summer the season before at Motherwell. We signed him and I think he came on as a subby. I can't mind what the score was. I think we were getting pumped at Caniggias and he came on as a subby and I just felt sorry for him. I knew he was finished. So it didn't work for him. It's a shame. Who else has done that? I mean, I liked it when Gary Harkins came back. He must admit. That's who.
Gary Harkins and Gary Everin got the punt for Farfar last week. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
So
the Twa Garys.
The
white coffee and the poor man Satan. That's a shame. Oh well, hopefully somebody will pick them up anyway. They've still got a lot to offer. I would take Harkins back in the Dundee midfield tomorrow, to be quite honest with you. Bring him on as a subby to attack a free kick or just thread that through ball that nobody else will see.
When I said to Jaime last week, I was like, what do you think Gary Boyer's going to have on his Christmas wish list for John Elms? And he went, I hope it was Gary Harkins. He went, I
don't know what age Gary Harkins is now. Like, he's 36, 37 anyway, but I don't know. I thought he was brilliant. I mean,
the thing is though, I bet he must think he could still play, right? Because to be honest with you, right, I'm 44, right? If Gary Boyer phoned me in the morning and said, Dave, turn up your bits, I could do 90 minutes. You fucking bother.
I thought he was a good player for us.
And the goal.
And I was sorry. I was sorry to see him go each time, Harkins. But the last time he went, who was it? He fell out with Hartley, I think. I don't know what happened. The last time he was at Dundee, Gary Harkins, I think he fell out with Hartley and got jettisoned to Ayr United.
It's shite when that happens.
Hartley seemed to fall out with a few boys and just get rid,
But then
me, Paul.
There's a few folk like that in the Scottish game. I mean, I always think of Neil McCann. He's such an uptight, angry prick sometimes, and he's into them, right? We kind of love him, but he's also a wee bit of a prick, right? Because I think
strange decisions when he was interim manager for us. I mean, Craig Whiting going to Hearts saying, "Oh, he needs a change," and I was like that as a young player. I was like, fuck. And we got stung. Didn't get good money for him.
No.
Kamara at Rangers for 50k.
Okay.
Wow. And then as soon as they signed him, yeah, he's a 12 million player now, you know. They're fatal for that. You know, sign a player and haggle for 300,000 and then anybody else comes in and they're valuing them at 300 million. Yeah, it's like, they take the piss.
Mental. Right, so coming up this week too, World Cup. Do you even give a fuck about it?
I dunno.
No, right, okay, cool. Well, in that case, thanks to King Tong Tattoo Company for being a proud... No, sorry, on you go, mate. No. What are you going to say?
Yeah, not really got much interest in the World Cup. Obviously, first and foremost, because Scotland in it, you know what I mean? And I'm not the sort that just wants to watch England get beat.
I do.
Yeah, but I'm not wanting to make a point of watching it, you know, just to see them get beat. And I'm no, you know...
So, I was saying before that I think a tasty game will be America v Iran. Right? That's going to be a good game. Right? Didn't tell me politics and religion didn't get involved with football, because it happens.
Well, there's a lot of things just now where, you know, they're banning like a lot of the messages getting put out for football camps and that over there saying, you know, you've got to keep politics out of football, but as you say, how the hell can you when it's USAV?
I mean, that's even when it's Scotland, England were playing, right? It's not necessarily politics, but it kind of is. Well, yeah. Because, you know,
good luck to England.
Fuck off.
You guys can't see me again on the finger here. You know, as I say, I'm no better wanting to see everybody beat England, but they didn't do themselves any favours. They drum up this much hype and belief that we could win this every time, and, you know, everyone else can see it, and they set themselves up for a big fall, and it is quite funny every time, you know. But they're getting closer, obviously. They got a semi-final and a final the last time. I hope they didn't make it one better and win the damn thing.
Well, nah, I think we'll be alright. I think there's other teams in there where I could take care of them.
No, definitely no Italy, because they're not there.
They're not there. they're busy.
No Scotland. I don't know. There's still a lot of good teams in there, you know. It's hard to say. England are a good team. They've got a lot of good players, but... Yeah. It's open. I'm not going to make it a habit of sitting and watching them. I can't watch a game just for the sake of it. I've got to have some kind of interest in.
I'm going to watch the Australia games purely because Jason Cummins got a call up for
the Cumdog.
The Cumdog
playing for the Aussies, is he?
Do you know what? I felt sorry for him at Dens, right? Because he was just coming on to a game and he got dropped to Lee Griffiths again when we signed Griffiths, and then
straight away.
And then I think that pissed him off. And he obviously went out and got trashed and did something, and then a couple of weeks later he did that hydro thing as well, which he wasn't meant to be doing.
Yeah.
And but
it's
good to see he's come shivering.
He was hitting a good run of form. He was starting to get a consistent game and scoring goals. He was brilliant on the turn. You know, he was intelligent. He just seemed to know where to be, and he was good at just, you know, if he had his back to goal and just turning any situation, you know. But as you say, we signed Griffiths and he was straight in the team. I would have made him work to get in the team because he was about a stone and a half overweight.
Well, he was saying in the paper the other week that he's now lost the weight that he said that he wasn't carrying at the time.
Oh, that he said he wasn't carrying, right? Okay. Yeah, but well, good luck to Jason Cummins. Like, apparently he's been fantastic over in Australia since he went down there. Yeah. Good eye.
Good
and
luck.
And then they've got Martin Boyle playing with them as well. I mean, yeah, seems, I don't know. It's the same way that we've had
both of the players being at Dens.
Both these players being at Dens.
Well,
I mean, there's a lot of players that have went on to become internationals after their days at Dens. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of guys. I suppose you could say, looking at these, yeah, it might be an idea. Look out for Australia. There's a couple of sort of vested interests at home and that.
Like
Scottish guys playing for Australia.
I'll be watching. I'll be watching the Australia games, and I'll also watch the Iran USA games as well.
Just in case there's any explosions.
I don't think there'll be any of that.
I don't think so.
I think it'll be a tasty game. Right, mate, I'm going to need to wrap things up. Thanks very much, Craig, for joining us on the Club 12 podcast.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me. I hope I've not waffled some ridiculous nonsense.
No,
from
you
me,
have.
mate.
It's been fucking
If I have,
magnificent,
then,
mate.
I make no apologies. Thank you very much for having this. It's a pleasure, 'cause I'm a big fan of the show.
Good stuff, thank you very much. Yeah, thanks to King Kong Tattoo Company, our sponsors. They're based at Albert Square, Dundee, for all your tattoo and piercing needs. And we'll be back on the Club 12 next week. Cheers, goodbye.